Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Soul Focus Radio. This is your host, Martin Friedman, and I'm here with Cindy Edwards and Martina Tam. Hey, everybody.
Hello, hello.
Hi.
Look, it's all three of us again.
Oh, it's been a while.
It has been a while, except the good news is that I think in the way we've released this, it's only one episode. So it's going to feel to our listeners like it wasn't that long, which is kind of cool. So how are you both doing?
I'm doing great. I'm so excited to share some news with everybody. But I guess we'll have to wait to find out after this commercial.
Absolutely. We have some exciting news coming up in just a minute. And Martina, you want to say hi real quick and tell us how you're doing?
Yeah, hi. I'm doing well. It's good to be in the new year, and the Lunar New Year is coming up this weekend as well. So lots of feelings of new beginnings, which I think is a good theme for today's episode as well.
Nice. Just a quick aside. Isn't it awesome having multiple New Years? I love having multiple New Years.
Mm-hmm.
I know you all do, being from Asian cultures that celebrate Lunar New Year's, and I do being Jewish, because we also, believe it or not, the Hebrew calendar is a lunar calendar as well. So we actually have 2 or 3 New Years every year, but the big New Year's is Rosh Hashanah in the fall, and that's based on a 13-month lunar calendar. So it jumps around every year. But I love having multiple New Years because it feels like just this constant process of beginnings.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I would say, does your family have any sort of traditions that you celebrate every year for New Year's?
I think it's the basic, like a lot of families kind of centered around food and having certain foods. And then, when we were younger, doing the lucky money or the red envelopes and just being together as a family.
Yeah.
I know, like traditionally for my dad, growing up in Hong Kong, everyone would get their hair cut before the new year. You had to wear all new clothes for the new year. It was kind of like the one time of the year you got new things.
Yeah.
How about for you all?
Same. It's really centered around family, lots of food, the red envelopes. Growing up, I always got the red envelopes, and I would look forward to every year because I would get so much money. And now that I'm an adult, I hand out the red envelopes, and it's really fun, just to see the kids come up and just full of excitement, and they're wishing you like a prosperous new year, wishing you good health, and, all these cute little like Vietnamese and Chinese sayings. Like it's kind of hard to describe, but in Vietnamese we have our way of saying Happy New Year. But just hearing like the little voices say it, it's really cute. With COVID, we haven't celebrated Chinese New Year as a big family in a really long time. Like, I think the last time I celebrated with my family Chinese New Year was like 2019, obviously before COVID. And so this year, I'm really looking forward to seeing my family because we're going to get together, but just do like a small gathering, but bigger than like our immediate family. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. I'm glad you're able to reconnect this year. And I'll have to look up. I don't know if you know off the top of your head, like what the year of the rabbit is supposed to bring. I don't know that I know the characteristics of the rabbit for when it's a year of the rabbit.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. That's a great question. I probably should find out.
Oh, I was going to say maybe we'll have to do a future episode on the year of the rabbit.
Yeah, I like that.
All right. Well, it was fascinating for me to listen to you all talk about that. I got to know a lot about this when I was, doing social work, working as an upward bound counselor. We had a lot of Asian kids in our program, so I got to learn about it that way. And there was a couple times I may have been in casinos in the Seattle area on Lunar New Year's too. So I learned about it from that perspective as well.
Awesome.
Yeah. Cindy, I don't know if does your family do the gambling game?
We do. It's really fun. I don't know what it's called in English, but it's like, are you talking about the one that has like the 6 animals?
Yes, I just was taught that by some friends.
Oh yeah, that's really fun. It's definitely like a highlight of our family parties.
Can you all describe it?
Okay, so basically there's like a board, and on the board there's six different, I think there's five different animals, and one is like a gourd, it's like a bottle. And there's like I believe a deer, a fish, a crab, a chicken. I can't remember what, there's like one more animal that I know I'm missing. I can't remember it right now, but basically, you would put your money on whatever you think. Gosh, I'm like just all out of order. There's three dices too that have these animals and the gourd on it. And you shake it up and you basically roll it. And whatever it lands on, if you bet money on it, then you would win. If you bet $1, then you win $1. Does that make sense?
It does. It makes sense. And actually, yeah, I did experience it a few times at casinos where they would play that game, and I learned it. I never played it, but I watched other people do it in the casinos on Lunar New Year. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty fascinating. Growing up in Cleveland, Ohio, really not around any Asian folks when I was there. It was living in Seattle was quite an education and really eye opening for me culturally.
I love how diverse Seattle is.
It's amazing. It really is. All right, you all. Well, this has been a fascinating introductory conversation, but like Cindy said, we have some earth-shattering news just on the other side of this Mahdi moment. So stay tuned.
At the Soul Focus Group, we're probably one of the first organizations in the social justice movement to find ourselves moving away from fighting against racism to creating human solidarity. What we found is that we could fight for 24 hours, 48 hours, or all our lives, and after fighting all this time, we have nothing to show for it, because we haven't created anything for ourselves. At the Soul Focus Group, we are one of the few organizations who have moved from fighting against racism to creating an alternative to racism. And we invite you to join us. Let's stop fighting and start creating the outcome we really want to experience.
Welcome back. We are excited to have this chance to share with our listeners some big news that Cindy has to share with us. Cindy, I don't know how to even start asking for this, but I feel like we should just kind of rip the Band-Aid off. What do you think?
I think we should. So
Yeah.
hello, everybody. So I wanted to share with you all that starting February 1st, I will be stepping down from my role at the Soul Focus Group. This has been the hardest decision I've ever had to make, especially like in my, professional life, my career. But I'm taking this time off to just shift my focus and to better focus on my family and just be more available for my three young children. As you all know, they are 3, 4, and 6. And so right now is the time, it's really critical that I'm present with them. And so I just really want to take this time off and be very intentional with my time with them. And I'm really excited for this transition. But I'm really going to miss, everybody at the Soul Focus Group and interacting with them, on a day-to-day basis. But I'll definitely make sure that I stay connected.
Yeah, Cindy, gosh, I have such mixed feelings about when I heard this news from you. Obviously one of them is sadness, because I really value our time together on these podcasts. I love hearing your perspective. Learning from you as a parent has been amazing for me. And then, of course, everything else that you do at Soul Focus Group, which is just, you're like the master puppeteer making everything work, I feel like, at Soul Focus Group. So I know you're going to be so missed. And at the same time, something that I've been thinking a lot about and wanted to ask you about is, I almost feel like a lot of the conversations that we've had and the interviews I've heard you do on the podcast almost feel like they've sort of led up to this decision, like by doing all this work, I guess my question is, do you feel like the journey of these podcasts, the journey with Soul Focus Group, how much of that contributed to this decision? And do you think you would have made the same decision if you hadn't been on this journey with Soul Focus Group?
Wow. A lot of what we preach at the Soul Focus Group has really helped shape me into the woman and mother that I am today. I felt like I've learned so much over the past couple of years that I've gotten involved with Soul Focus and have developed, professionally and personally and spiritually. And, one thing I feel like Soul Focus Group has really helped me with was just being very intentional. I think for a long time, I was kind of just like in the mix, kind of like in survival mode, taking it one day at a time. And, now it's just like I'm very aware of myself and how I show up for others and how I show up for myself and my children. And so, with that being said, yeah, I have, because of all of the, wisdom and the technology that I've learned from Soul Focus Group, I take a lot of time to reflect. And, based on my reflection, I just have realized that, over the past year, I haven't been as present as I would like with my children. And, my husband, Kelly, like he just works so much and we just live a very busy lifestyle. And so with him working, so many hours in a week and with me working, I realize the effect that it has on my children when they come up and want me to read them a story while I'm, in the middle of a meeting, or if I'm writing an email. And, sometimes I kind of just push it off to the side and like, oh, I can't right now. I'm in a meeting. Oh, sorry. I can't do this right now. I got to write this email. Mm-hmm. And, as much as I don't want to feel that mom guilt and I try to give myself grace, I still end up feeling it. I feel guilty at the end of the day when I reflect on, my time with them. And so, I'm just really excited for this transition, hoping that my time, I'm more available for them and, we can create these memories together. And, when I look back, I'm not going to regret missing out on anything with them,
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. And I told you this, but I want to share it with our listeners too, is I'm so inspired by your decision. And I think it's something for us to really look up to as, for me as a mom, as a working mom, and so many other folks who are trying to balance family and work. Because I feel like this decision just flows so naturally with all the other wisdom that you've shared about soul-focused parenting. So I know it was not an easy decision, and we are going to miss your presence so much, but I feel really inspired by your decision, and I hope our listeners do too.
Thank you, Martina. Yeah, it's been a bittersweet feeling. I just love Soul Focus Group so much and everything that we stand for, all the work we're doing and all the lives that we're changing. And, part of me is having like FOMO, now that I'm leaving and not a part of, the behind the scenes work, which is what I'm so used to. Right. Mm-hmm. And so, but, with my relationship with everybody, like I'm definitely going to stay connected and text you guys and see what's going on, what's the latest. And yeah.
And I feel too, like the image that's in my mind right now is like waves coming and going. Like it seems like, there's different phases of parenthood. And this is a phase where, like you said, your kids need you. So how wonderful it is that you are in tune with that and able to be there for them. And who knows what the future brings when they need you there physically less. I know you'll be back with Soul Focus Group when you can.
For sure. Yeah. I've thought about that too. Once they are either all in grade school and they're gone, for longer than 4 hours a day, with that free time, if I will, go back to work. But just when I think about it, I'm like, as they get older, they're going to start getting into their own activities, and how exciting, to be taking them to jujitsu and their basketball practice and their dance practice and watching their recitals and their games, and, just being able to be there and be present and support them.
Yeah, it's our most important work.
Well, I'm going to chime in because I don't have mixed feelings at all. And I'm not happy. No, I'm just kidding. I was going to go on a whole rant, but I'm just kidding. Cindy, I'm really happy for you. And we've been able to talk a lot, and I'm going to really miss you. And I want to tell you something that's really hilarious. When I'm on my phone and I type in hey, it auto completes Cindy. So like, how many times have I texted like, hey, Cindy, to like ask you for, to help me out with something at Soul Focus Group, that now it just auto completes as, hey, Cindy.
Oh, that's funny.
Isn't that funny? It's like, I noticed that the other day. I'm like, I typed in hey and it said Cindy. And then every time I did it, it came up, hey, Cindy. So I was like, I must really type that a lot on my phone. So I know I'm going to miss you so much, and also, totally respect your decision too. I was going to try to pretend that I didn't respect it just to be funny, but it is, it's very admirable. And I know Kelly really well. I know this was a really difficult decision for you because I know how dedicated you've been to what we do. And I've heard you say, both personally and also on the podcast, how much you've grown, and not just professionally, but personally, like you and Martina were just talking about. So I just want to, tell you that I'm really happy for you, and you're always going to be a part of our family and part of our network. So you don't have to fear missing out at all, because you're always going to be a part of what we do,
Thank you.
100%.
Thank you. It means a lot. And, I really want to show my gratitude to you. We've talked about this a little bit on our previous podcast, but like, I've grown. I know we keep talking about how much I've grown, but like tremendously through this podcast. And I just, I'm just still thinking about the very first time I had the conversation with you and how nervous I was. And you were so patient with me, and you comforted me, and you were so supportive and helping me feel comfortable. And you have been a huge contributor to my, I guess, me accomplishing the goal of getting over this fear of public speaking, and had it not been for you to keep encouraging me, I probably would have chickened out after the first time. It was like, Martin, this is not for me. But, you didn't let me give up, and you didn't give up on me. And here we are, many episodes in. And I just really want to thank you so much.
Man, you're welcome. And I want to thank you because you have brought so much, like, listening back to the episodes, your honesty, your openness, your willingness to like put yourself out there in a vulnerable way. And, you really did. And what's funny too, is I went back and I was looking at different episodes, and it feels like both of you have been on for so long. We've only been doing this, the three of us, since June. So this is only 6 months, and I know we average around 4 a month. So it's 24 episodes, but it just feels, it feels like you, Cindy, and also you, Martina, that you both really stepped into this role and embraced this role very early on. And it didn't take long at all for you all to feel really natural. So yeah, it's been great. I mean, it's been really great. And, we're definitely going to miss you. And, I was thinking that maybe even we can have you on as a guest every now and then, just to say hi and check in with you. And, if it works, I know you have a lot of stuff going on in your life, but, we may reach out to you and just see if you want to come on and say hi sometime in the future.
I would love that. I would love that a lot. And Martina, I want to thank you as well, for agreeing to do the podcast with us, and just like being my fellow mommy and fellow female voice on here. And, I feel really connected to you, just because we met so long ago, before I even started with Soul Focus Group. And this energy that you have is so welcoming and warm and kind. And being able to work alongside with you, for the past couple of years, you've shown nothing but support and love. And I really do consider you as like my soul focused sister. So we, are in her power presentations. Like we've had some good times together, and I just really appreciate you.
Oh, Cindy, gosh, I echo those sentiments so much. Yeah, we met way back at a Starbucks training. Gosh, how many years ago? 5 years ago, maybe. But yeah, it is. I can't imagine having started this podcast without you. And just like I feel like I've said many times, I've looked up to you in so many ways, your wisdoms in teaching as a mom. And, we started this podcast, Makeba was like 8 months old or 7 months old. So, I learned a lot in my early parenting, which, as we're talking about, is the most important thing that we do in our lives for many of us. So I'm so grateful to you, because there are so many moments where I think about with wisdom you've shared. I was actually just thinking today about how you said on a podcast, whenever your kids ask for help, you don't say no. Like you always agree to help them. And I was just thinking about that today, because my kid was asking me to help her do something. And I was like, Cindy said you always should be there and provide that help. And so I helped her with getting something from under the table, something silly. But your narrative is often running through my mind as a parent. And so I'm so grateful to you as that. And like you said, you're my soul focused sister. And definitely, even if you're not on the podcast, I know we'll continue to connect and to be together. And I hope you don't mind. I'll be reaching out for advice, since I won't be getting it on your soul focused parenting.
Oh, I do not mind at all. And that's awesome. That's really awesome to hear. And that's just, that's kind of been the goal with this podcast is I put the truth out there and whatever I'm going through, the wisdom that I have to share. And even if just one person, can take something away from this episode, or, like you said, like my narrative runs through your mind. Like that's just like the goal, is to be able to share what I'm going through, so that people just, if they can relate, then that's great, and not feel like they're alone or going through this alone, or have felt this emotion by themselves. So this has been a great platform for me to just reflect, on my parenting, and hope that my experiences can help somebody else in some sort of way.
I definitely think you have made a mark on folks. Like I said, your vulnerability, your openness, all of that stuff. So I just want to thank you again. Yeah, I would just ask at this point, I know you actually have to go and take care of stuff. So is there anything, before we close out, is there anything else that you want to say that you haven't said yet?
I still feel like there's so much that I want to say. But, I really just want to thank everybody at the Soul Focus Group for all of the love and all of the support over the past, couple of years. Thank you to our listeners for listening to me. I used to think that what I had to say was not important, like who would want to listen to me. And now, I don't feel that way at all. Like I love being on the podcast, and I love the feedback that I've been getting. And, I'm just really appreciative of everybody in the Soul Focus community, right? So whether that be colleagues or listeners or people that we've worked with, I'm just really thankful to have shared space in some way. And yeah, it's not goodbye. It's just see you later.
So long. Yeah, see you later. So long. Or the old saying used to be, it's not goodbye, it's so long. Or see you later.
Yeah.
We'll be having you on, like Martin said. We'll have you on as guest.
Yep.
Guest if you got the time for it.
Absolutely.
I will make the time.
When you come to the Soul Focus Group, you come to an acknowledgement that there has been injuries done to us from all these different forms of oppression. Injuries that have impacted our subconscious mind, our heart, our spirit, our very soul. So at the Soul Focus Group, we recognize that and we focus on healing. healing, the return or the recovery of our connections to our healthy self, our beautiful thinking mind. We want you to come join us in a movement of healing all around the world to restore us back to our rightful state. At the Soul Focus Group, we heal.
All right. Well, now everybody knows what's happening in our world. And, Cindy, thank you again for, coming on the air with us and telling everybody in the Soul Focus family what's going on with you. Just thanks again. Once again, you were open and honest with everyone. So I want to appreciate that.
Thank you, Martin. And thank you to our listeners. It's so weird. It's like there's a lot of different emotions going on right now. Like this isn't my last episode. This is just maybe my last episode as a co-host. But yeah, I'll be back.
Most
I
definitely.
look forward to that.
Me too. And for our listeners, we want to tell you that we actually already have identified another co-host. And we will probably keep some things the same, and we might shake things up a little bit and have some new segments and do some new things. So, like is always happening at Soul Focus Group, we're always evolving and morphing, and to meet the needs of our Soul Focus family. So, Cindy, again, you will always be a member of our family, 100%. And we want to thank you, and we want to thank everybody that's part of the Soul Focus family. We want you to go and look at our website, soulfocusgroup.com. It is brand new. It is exciting. Cindy actually was extremely instrumental in getting it to look as good as it does. There's a lot of meetings and a lot of work, and Cindy picked out a lot of the color schemes and all that kind of stuff. So please come and take a look at soulfocusgroup.com and follow us on all your favorite podcasting platforms, and know that we love you. We care about you. And we want you to stay safe. We want you to stay well. And Cindy, most of all, what do we want everybody to do?
To stay so focused.